This is Tyrese Halliburton, and you're listening to Setting the Pace.
What is up, Pacer Nation? Welcome back to another episode here of your go-to Pacers podcast, Setting the Pace. I'm your host, Alex Golden. I'm joined today by the handsome one, Michael J. Facci. Facci, how's it going, brother?
Always beats lovely, so I'll take the compliment. So, look,
I was lying. I'm sorry.
Oh, my God. Well, there it is. There goes the air right out of the tires. But you can't get me down because there was some Summer League basketball today. Now, there might not have been a win, but there was a whole lot of Furphy. And I'm telling you, that's worth something. Johnny Furphy, you're going to catch him on your local, ESPN, whatever you want to call it, your top 10 plays. It's going down. Alex, what was your reaction to what we saw with some Johnny Furphy tonight?
I'm sitting here watching Summer League. I'm basically looking at my phone and barely watching. I'm trying not to get myself too wrapped up into the Summer League stuff because if I sit down there and I'm like really watching, I'm like, okay. But man, I had to jump off my couch, man. I mean, it was incredible. I was like, whoa, Johnny Furphy just did that. I had to pull my phone out. I had to record it immediately. And I thought it was just spectacular. Like what a dunk by him. He had another one later in the game. And the Pacers, honestly, the Statue of Liberty later in the game as well. Not from Furphy, but I forget who it was from. Maybe it was. I'm blanking on the name right now. I do apologize.
Philip Wheeler? Was that Philip
Wheeler? Yes. I was thinking PJ Wheeler, and I was like, no,
hey, it's all right. This is a classic Summer League name that will never be brought up later on in the season after maybe the next couple of days. So no offense, Philip Wheeler, but we obviously know, hey, it's a little bit of a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, Statue of Liberty dunk, though, Facci. I mean, we got better dunks in this game than we see in the dunk contest.
I completely agree. I tweeted it out. Throw Johnny Furphy in the dunk contest because, at least this guy's on an NBA roster. I feel like they've been pulling guys from the G League, and it's just like, who is this? It's hard to get, behind. But, Furphy was a whole lot more than just dunking. I felt like, hey, 5 of 9 from the field for 15 points, 6 boards. I feel like he's looking really good, in like a downhill motion. He was obviously being able to put it behind his back. But he had 2 slams in this game, like we talked about, 2 blocks, 2 steals. I just feel like this is the guy now that I'm not going to call it a lost season, but what could be a tough season is going to be someone that every single night we are rooting for to see more of. So loved what I saw from Johnny Furphy, but in my opinion also, this was like, I tweeted out, this is a Cam Jones breakout. And of course,
great game from Cam Jones.
A couple haters out there like, what do you mean breakout? Or like, it's just Summer League. It's like, so we're not supposed to root for our 38th overall pick? Like, to me, what I saw tonight, finally, in Game 3, got me excited to say, like, hey, this is the guy that was advertised that Indiana got. I loved what he brought to the table tonight.
Yeah, I thought he looked really good, Facci. I was really impressed with him. The back-to-back threes that he hit, he just seemed more poised, seemed like he was under control. And look, I think part of that has to do with the fact that he was dealing with the injury, didn't really get the reps in. I think maybe he's just starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with this team as he's getting chemistry with the guys and kind of understanding what he's supposed to do. This is a lot for these young players to be like, hey, go out here and do this. And he's an on-ball kind of guy too, so it's different. I really liked the way that he played. I felt like he was very aggressive. I think Tom Crean actually called him the best layup maker in the draft.
I had to rewind that when he said that. I was like, wait a minute, did I hear that right? And then I saw you actually tweeted it out, and I was like, hey, coach knows ball. He knows ball. And for him to say that, that was something that we heard coming out of the draft is this man could put pressure on the rim, and that is what he did tonight.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Tom Crean is a better color commentator than Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson?
Yes. I mean, Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson, when they're doing that, it almost feels like, obviously, when I'm listening to them, they're feels like they're against the Pacers. It's very evident. It just feels like they're never on the Pacers side. So
I just don't think they're I don't think they're very good at their job. I'm not even being mean. There were some times where I didn't mind what they had to say, but I mean, Tom Crean just loves the game, and he knows so many things about each player, and knows so much backstory on a lot of them. So it's like you're just getting an education while you're sitting there watching the game. It kind of gives me like Tony Romo vibes a little bit. Yeah, maybe he talks a little too much, but I'd rather him talk too much. And obviously who he was with, I can't remember the guy's name that was leading the show, but that guy understood the role, set Crean up and let him kind of do his thing.
Totally. He knows the nuances of the game, the ins and outs, the nitty gritty, whatever sayings you want to use. But what I really liked about Cam Jones also, we saw him get to the rim in other games, but we saw him hit threes tonight. He was 4 of 5 from 3-point land after going 0 of 6 from 3-point land in the previous game against the Thunder. So that when I saw that performance against the Thunder, I was like, you know, I don't know. How's the 3-point shot going to be? You know, obviously he did not shoot the ball from three his senior year. So I felt like him going 4 or 5 tonight, very encouraging. I mean, there's always going to be some ups and downs. 6 assists with 6 turnovers. Okay, hey, it's summer league. You know, Clint, you know, do what you got to do. Sometimes there's going to be more fouls and more turnovers than what you like. But 20 points, made it rain from 3, got to the rim. I felt like this was a very encouraging performance by our 38th overall pick, our first pick in the draft. If you want to say it, I know it sounds like way different than when he's picked at 38, but our top draft pick. I was encouraged tonight.
No, I thought it was really good. And then speaking of the other draft pick that we have, Taylor Peter, thought he was okay.
Tonight he was the other pick. Tonight he definitely was the other one. And I felt like, hey, after 2 games in a row of us feeling really encouraged, I'm with you. This was a little bit of a, taking it back.
He didn't pop as much, but I think what was the most interesting to me was Caitlin Cooper tweeted out
that was good.
Taylor Peter should get the final 2-way spot. And Kevin Pritchard on his Twitter put a thumbs up emoji to her comment or to her post. Thought that was interesting, and I'm sure you saw there at the end of the game they did kind of show a little video of Jenny Busek being in attendance with Kevin Pritchard, his wife Tatiana, and then Steven Simon was there as well, the alternate governor there for the Pacers. So I just thought, having all these people here that are like part of the Pacers organization, cool to see them in attendance for the game. Obviously, Andrew Nembhard there as well, but the fact that KP was all in on Taylor Peter being that 2-way guy, I mean, it would almost be weird for him not to get it now after KP.
Yeah, I know. A drip of sweat coming down Enrique Freeman's head after seeing that thumbs up. The thumbs up heard around the world from KP. But I felt like
around the world.
Around the world. Exactly. Around Pacer Nation at least. But for Taylor Peter, he hits all of his 2s, struggle from 3-point land, 0-5. But at the same point, you know what? Hey, look, I saw enough in the first 2 games to be very encouraged by the 54th overall pick. Enrique Freeman's doing everything again to hold on to that spot. 15 points, 10 boards, does it on 5 of 8 shooting. Once again, he hits 2 threes. He's 2 of 3 from 3-point land the last 2 games. He is, I think it was 4 of 5 now from 3-point land. So, hey, encouraging to see Enrique Freeman taking his game forward, but we still know there's limitations there. He's undersized big on a roster that is filled with bigs. So, this is going to have to play out until the end of summer league, I would say, for who's going to get that final spot.
What do you think of Ray J. Dennis tonight?
Oh, obviously much better performance. I mean, he was 1 of 10 in that previous game against Thunder. It was rock bottom. In this game, 20 points, 7 of 14 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, hits all of his free throws, 5 assists. I feel like this was
How many turnovers did he have tonight?
He had 3 turnovers. So You're talking about 2 good games, 1 really good game, another good game from Ray J. Dennis, and then 1 horrific game. So I think, hey, law of numbers or law of averages, I guess, he's done enough to be able to say, yeah, definitely still deserving of his 2-way spot.
Yeah, I think the fact that he's kind of had like some up and down games so far through the first 3 games kind of shows why he's a 2-way guy. If he was playing consistently at the level he played at in games 1 and games 3, there's probably an end of the bench roster spot for him somewhere in the league, right? So that's interesting to me. Now, we were talking about Johnny Furphy's dunk earlier, and how he dunked on that Bulls player. I forget the guy's name for the Bulls, but it was very hard to pronounce.
Pick from France. I'm blanking on his name right now, but
I think it starts with an E, but I didn't want to even try to butcher it. Anyway, we're talking about Johnny Furphy dunking on him. Can we just back it up a little bit and talk about when Tom Crean dunked on Myles Turner a little bit?
To tell me what
these comments.
What was the exact comment?
So this is a quote. I want to give a shout out to our good friend Josh. Padmore.
About his defensive capabilities, right?
Yeah, he said this is what Tom Crean said, according to what Josh Padmore shared from the broadcast. Here's Tom Crean. I am also not of the belief that they're going to lose a ton defensively without Myles Turner. They're going to lose some offensively, but defensively, he had a struggle sometimes in the pick and roll and certainly with defensive rebounding. Myles Turner can make a lot of shots and is a very effective player, but they've got a chance to get better inside with more pressure on the pick and roll game and maybe better defensive rebounding. Our good friend Josh Padmore is not the biggest Myles Turner fan, and he actually said, inject what Tom Crean just said about Myles Turner into my veins. I think that the criticism from Crean is fair, and if anybody wonders how much Indiana Pacers Tom Crean was watching. Well, we had Tom Crean on this podcast.
Yeah.
I have Tom Crean's phone number. We text every once in a while. I'll just say this. He was paying close attention because Thomas Bryant is his guy. And he definitely would watch stuff to give Thomas feedback. And so that means he was watching a lot of Myles Turner throughout the regular season and the playoffs. So yeah, I would trust Coach Crean on his assessment of Myles Turner and how the Pacers might just take a step forward defensively.
Once a coach, always a coach. He's watching. I love how he's saying the coach Thomas Bryant, however many years ago, still sending those texts during the game, just for him to read afterwards. Like that's awesome. But as it relates to Turner, look, sometimes blocks are overrated. Sometimes you could have 2 blocks in a game, but if your opponent scores, 20 points on you and you only deliver, 15 and 6, I'm sorry, but those 2 blocks aren't really doing a lot. So I felt like there was a time that Turner was absolutely the best shot blocker in the world. That was probably close to 5 years ago. So I think that right now, of course, the Pacers are going to take a step back without Turner, but I do think, to Tom Crean's point, in areas they probably will take a step forward. They could be a better rebounding team. It's possible this year, but we'll see what happens. Like Isaiah Jackson is also a really good rim protector. He is, and I think some people forget about that like Isaiah Jackson could get you blocks. He's not going to get you threes, but hey, I think Indiana's going to have a power numbers type of thing where, they make up for the scoring. So I thought that was a good boost of confidence to say, hey, Turner's a good player, but this Indiana team, they're going to figure it out.
I think so, Facci. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break. When we come back on the other side, we've got Marc Dykton, the morning producer for 107.5's morning show with James Boyd, Kevin Bowen, and Jeff Rickard. He's going to be joining us right after this. Joining us now on Setting the Pace, it is his first time on the show, but I have talked with him several times on 107.5 The Fan in the morning show. It is Marc Dykton. Marc, man, I'm so sorry it has taken us this long to get you on the show, but how are you doing, man?
Alex, it is a pleasure. I just assume that my Cubs affiliation has kicked the can down the road for having me on this show because you're just like, I'm disgusted to have this man on here. But I appreciate the invite, and I could not say no to you. And we love having you on the Fan. So when you gave me the call, I was like, I have to join. So thank you very much.
You've definitely texted me at the last second. Said, hey, can you come on the show tomorrow? Things like that. So I appreciate you returning the favor coming on because I did ask you today if you could come on in a few hours. So it was kind of a last second thing.
This shirt is unintentional, by the way. This is completely blind luck that I'm just wearing. I swear to God.
I'm sure it is.
It's completely
nasty Cubs shirt over here. This is going to be Mark's last time on the show, but while we're here, we'll make the most of it. Facci, I'll let you kick things off here with a Pacers question because I could just go down a rabbit hole of Cubs, commentary.
Oh, hey, look, as a Mets fan, take care of Pete Crow Armstrong. That guy's killing it for you guys, and Mets fans are going to regret that trade.
Stop, Facci. Sure. This is a Pacers podcast.
Anyway, look, as we turn it over to Pacer basketball, I mean, Mark, we want to get someone's opinion on this outside of Alex and I. We talked about it recently, but Turner makes his move. Okay, look, we're unhappy with it, but tell me about your thoughts on Turner's press conference when he's joining the Bucks, because how did you interpret a lot of his comments? Because a lot of us, we feel some sort of way.
Yeah, so I mean, I heard it just like everybody else, and I almost felt like it was kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde situation, because you had where he released the letter a few days earlier, giving the shout out to Long's Donuts and all that stuff to the fans. It's like the feel good, like Myles Turner, like, hey, thanks for a decade. It's been good. And then you had the press conference, and we just talked wrestling. It was almost like a kind of a heel promo where all of a sudden he was showing shades of like, I'm going to the dark side and everything like that. So I totally see why fans are upset by it. The whole, I wanted to stay competitive when this Pacers squad this past year was the definition of competitive. I mean, you pushed the best team in the NBA to Game 7 in the NBA Finals. You lost your best player to a torn Achilles, and yet you still had him on the brink of winning a championship. That team with Rick Carlisle, that coaching staff, and those players, those are the definition of competitive. So when Myles Turner tells everybody at the press conference, I wanted to stay competitive, that's kind of a slap in the face to everything that the Pacers have built around this whole Rick Carlisle regime. They have been competitive. They gave you your best shot night in and night out. That's how they've been going. So I totally understand from a fan's perspective why you heard those comments and you're a bit pissed off at what Myles Turner had to say.
Let me ask you this, because you brought up a wrestling point. Can you think of a terrible babyface that turned heel and how bad that went off the top of your head?
Like when it went poorly right out of the gate when he was trying
this
hard.
is a terrible decision. They're a babyface. They should never be a heel.
Stone Cold Steve Austin in like WrestleMania, I think it was 17, where he turned and joined Vince McMahon, the dark side and everything like that. Everybody's like, we love Stone Cold. Why would he turn to the dark side and go with the guy he's hated for the longest time? So kind of reminds me of that, where people still wanted to cheer Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though he was a heel. So that one right out of the top of my head.
That to me is how I feel about Myles Turner. I basically said he does not want to play the villain role.
No.
And I'm not a movie buff, so I don't watch a lot of movies, but the ones that I do watch, they stick out to me. So I brought up a very bad analogy yesterday, so I want you to kind of elaborate if you can give me a better movie reference. But I said it's kind of like Topher Grace playing Venom in Spider-Man 3. Myles Turner trying to be the villain for this, Pacers Bucks rivalry. He's not gonna be a good villain. I don't see it.
I'll say I'll go another comic book route, and I will say what's his name? The nerdy guy who played in Mark Zuckerberg in The Social Network. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank.
I know who you're talking about. He's been in some, but didn't he also play Lex Luthor?
Yes, that's where I was going.
I can't remember his name, but he was not a good Lex Luthor. And it's not because he had long hair when Lex Luthor's normally bald. It was like, you're not a believable villain.
Right.
They were talking about like Vince Vaughn in an action movie. It's like, come on, this is not you. This isn't you, And that's how I feel like with Turner. It's like, this isn't who you are. And going back to your point before with Stone Cold Steve Austin turning heel, he said to this day it was one of his biggest regrets. He should have stunned Vince McMahon right then and there, and everything would have been great. People didn't want to boo him. Now, like, we're being kind of forced to boo Myles Turner because we just feel some sort of way, and I felt like he could have went in a different direction with this. He chose to go in the wrong direction with this, and now I just feel like it's probably not going to be 50-50 for a bit. It's going to be a lot of Pacer Nation feeling some sort of way, being a little bit hurt for at least the time being.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he went from saying, I think it was the Summer League, he said, what do you think you'll be booed when you come back? And he's like, it's 50-50. I'm like, no. It was 50-50 before the press conference. Now it's 80-20. You're getting booed, 100%. And they might boo the entire montage that they throw out there on Gainbirds that first time. So, yeah, the script is completely flipped as far as Myles Turner's concerned because, yeah, he had some heel vibes, and he was riding with him in Milwaukee with Doc Rivers by his side. So he's feeling good. I can't blame him. If someone threw that kind of money in my face at a table, it's hard to say no. But if you're going to play this villain role, then that Bucks and Pacers rivalry is going to be ratcheted up even more now that Myles Turner's joined in the dark side.
Now, I will just say this. There was a hilarious post. It wasn't hilarious, but like Slam posted a thing of Damian Lillard. They said, where do you want to see Damian Lillard land? And for, in the, wherever he goes next. And I just replied back Indiana with a smirk. And I just think, how epic would that be for Damian Lillard to return from his Achilles injury and play for the Pacers in the playoffs? I'm just picturing it now. The Pacers are up by 2 with like 12 seconds left. Giannis drives, kicks it out to Myles Turner for a corner 3. Myles hits a 3. They're up by 1. He thinks he's the hero. All of a sudden, the Pacers throw the ball on to Dame. Isaiah Jackson sets a screen. Myles Turner gets a switch. Dame hits him for a game-winning 3, and him and Tyrese Halliburton are celebrating at halftime, doing the Dame time. I'm just saying, can we make any better, storybook picture right there than that?
I mean, we're the wrestling fans. I feel like you booked that pretty well right there. I feel like that would pop the crowd, as they say. So I like that scenario a lot, quite honestly. That's a really good. I mean, that would be unbelievable. I don't know how they would make that work, but I like your dream scenario there, Alex.
Let's do it, man. I love it.
we could always dream, but as we're looking with what's left with this team right now, obviously Isaiah Jackson, a guy that was just mentioned, he's recently signed to an extension, 3 years, $21 million. I love the value, barring that he is healthy and able to be maybe what he was, or if not better. But what is your thoughts on the, hey, Turner's gone, we can't do anything to change that, but we're going to go at least center by committee right now. Currently, the Pacers have 4 centers under contract. It's a lot. We'll see how that changes, but it's 4 centers that have potential for the most part to be able to pick up the slack that maybe Turner left behind.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Carlisle has said as much that it's going to be center by committee, and I think that's just how they have to play it this year because, I mean, if we're all being honest, it is kind of a season that's going to it's going to be maybe a bit of a valley with Tyrese Halliburton out for the year and now Myles Turner gone. You're going to kind of see where everybody's laying land, what the roster looks like, and who can step up. Every game in and game out, it might be a different center. You might have Isaiah Jackson one night. You might have James Wiseman another one. You might have Jay Huff play a few games in a row. It's going to be that kind of scenario. I think you just ride the hot hand every single night, and I trust Rick Carlisle and that staff to figure out who fits best with their scheme and going forward with that. So, they signed Jay Huff. I think they must see something in him. Rick Carlisle must see that he can get the most out of him. So I'm curious to see how that dynamic plays out with his roster. But yeah, I think this is going to be the coaching staff's time to shine, because this is not an ideal situation for many coaching staffs. You lose your best player after one win short of winning the championship. Now you're kind of in a valley. So they've proven it before that they get the best out of their guys, and boy, they're going to earn their money this season.
T.J. McConnell had an incredible playoff run. He's been pretty good the last couple of years, but I'm curious, how much more can the Pacers expect out of T.J. McConnell as he continues to get older and further into his career? And now without Halliburton, he's going to be asked to play, a bigger role this year. And right now the Pacers really only have 2 point guards on their current roster, with him and Nembhard, with Quentin Jackson kind of being that two-way guy who isn't, to me, like the best traditional point guard with like the other two are. So how much can they really expect or ask of TJ this upcoming season, just knowing that his role will probably be magnified?
Yeah, I mean, Alex, I'm sure you've got it in your DMs and whatnot too, where people say, man, look at how TJ McConnell played in the postseason. Why can't he play more? He should get more minutes. Look how he meshes with the team. Look how they get going. And they always say, yeah, but that's also because he's going 100 miles an hour, and so he burns out quickly. Mm-hmm. How can he adjust in that? Because that is going to be a big thing, where he might start out hot, but if he's playing double the minutes than he usually is when Tyrese Halliburton's healthy, you're going to burn out way quicker. And so what is that going to look like? Can he find a balancing act in using all that energy and all that stuff? Can he get the steals in the backcourt and make 4-point plays happen and all that? Or is he going to have to take his foot off the pedal a little bit and just kind of, take a breather every now and then? So how they manage that and how he personally manages that is going to be very interesting, because they're going to need him. They're going to rely on him, and he's not getting any younger, like you just said. So there's a lot on his table, and there's a good chance that he and Rick Carlisle and the coaching staff are just going to have to work out, like, how can we get the most out of you without burning you to the ground? Because we need you this whole season.
Keeping the tension on the backcourt, Andrew Nembhard, a guy that right now all eyes are on to just say, hey, this could very well be a breakout season. Many of us hoped for the breakout year last year, coming off of his playoff series against, the Boston Celtics. It just felt like, this guy is going to explode on the scene. Now, a year later, we have every right to believe that and more, given the absence of Halliburton. What are your sort of expectations for the type of leap that Andrew Nembhard can take, going from shooting guard to, point guard, and maybe, to an argument, maybe playing his more natural position?
Yeah, I mean, I like that he's moving more to point, because I think that's where he's going to shine most. We saw when he was with the shooting guard, he didn't have the best handles at that point, but if he can facilitate passing off the ball and making offense happen, I think that could help him, get back in rhythm and find his role there better. So, while obviously no one likes that Halliburton's out for the year, could you see Nembhard blossom? I think we can, and same thing to McConnell. I think they're going to find a balancing act. They're going to see what works best with them, and it's going to be a bunch of trial and error. You're going to see Nembhard struggle in games. You're going to see him flourish, and it's going to be kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde situation, I think, where until they find that right balance with what the units look like, what the rotation is like, it's going to be a lot of, grasping at straws to try to find a good facility going. So I think he can do really well, and I also think that he's going to need to recognize where his weaknesses are and hopefully improve on those.
I think with Halliburton's injury, everyone's been talking about Nembhard and the role he's going to take, stepping up and being more involved as a point guard. And Mathurin's kind of also been mentioned as a guy that's going to have a huge opportunity here. A lot of people expect him to start at the 2. But I think one player that we probably haven't talked about enough on this podcast is Jarace Walker, and the opportunity that he's going to get this upcoming season. With Turner gone now, and then with Halliburton out in the rotation, this was a guy that was already kind of like that 10th man in the rotation last year. Now he's probably moving up to like 7 or 8, maybe 9. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, what kind of role do you expect from Jarace? And one thing about Jarace too, we know he's very good at moving the basketball and being kind of like a playmaker on the court. Rick Carlisle loves having 2 ball handlers out there. And with Halliburton not being out there with Nembhard, Mathurin's not that kind of guy. So how do you think Jarace gets utilized this year?
I like Jarius Walker. I think he has a lot of untapped potential, and so it's a blessing in disguise if you're Jarius Walker, where this is your time to shine. Like they were hoping for big things for you. It's kind of been a struggle so far. Now is going to be you're going to be pushed to the forefront of we need guys that can give us minutes, can give us offense, can give us defense. Can you be that guy? It's a make or break season for him, in my opinion, because if he shows out, that's a long-term piece you got. Like you can feel pretty good if you're the front office of the Pacers. They're like, okay, we've got Jarius Walker, we've got something going here, and if he doesn't work out, it's another situation where you're trying to figure out where are we going at. Do we move on from this guy? Can we find someone better? I think the trade deadline for the Pacers this upcoming season could honestly be one of the more fascinating parts of the entire season, because if they're not that they're contenders, but if they're better than we all think they will be without Tyrese Halliburton, could they be buyers at the deadline? Is there a move that can be made that they can be like, okay, we can pair this up with Tyrese when he comes back? Or if they're worse than we think, are there pieces on this roster where you didn't get anything for losing Myles Turner? You got nothing. I mean, you got a 10-year player, you didn't get squat for him. If you're not that great at the deadline, are you looking to acquire pieces for the future for when Tyrese comes back fully healthy? You can build around through the draft there. Can Jarius Walker be one of those trade pieces? I don't know, but I think it's going to be a fascinating trade deadline season for the Pacers, because good or bad, they can be pretty active, and they are not usually very active at the trade deadline.
Last offseason, I remember when Andrew Nembhard became extension eligible. Once he didn't sign an extension on day one, I got a little bit nervous. Mm-hmm. Day two, that extension was signed. Benedict Mathurin, on the other hand, we have not heard any rumblings about any sort of extension, no numbers being discussed. We haven't heard anything that points to say an extension is getting done this offseason, which means that Mathurin will likely go into this year being able to have more opportunity. Maybe that offer goes up, or maybe it's, hey, you know what? This could be the end of the road in terms of, long-term in Indiana, because clearly they can't come to an agreement. We don't know. There's a lot of questions, not enough answers. If you're Benedict Mathurin, are you saying, hey, you know what? I'm confident in myself. I'm going to bet on myself to be able to, get a bigger contract? Or are you starting to feel some sort of way to say, hey, I saw everybody that got paid on this team last year. Where's my contract?
I mean, I don't know Benedict Mathurin personally. He seems like a guy that's like going to bet on himself, doesn't he? He seems like a guy who's like, yeah, if you don't believe in me, just give me a minute and I'll show you what I can do. So, yeah, I think he's going to want to prove himself. I think not only just to himself, but to the coaching staff as well, because Kevin Bowen, my colleague, he's a huge Benedict Mathurin fan. He wants a statue erected outside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse at certain times. There's other times we said, demolish the thing. We're not doing it. So can he find that consistency? Can we get the Benedict Mathurin that everybody thinks we're getting? Because they invested a pretty high draft pick in him, and they haven't really seen the consistency that you'd like to see at that point. So this is another changing of the guard moment where can Benedict Mathurin finally step up? He's had plenty of opportunity. Rick Carlisle seems to think, can he be a solid rotation guy? Can he break into the starting rotation? It's up to him. I mean, if he can actually find his footing and start giving us some solid offense and some solid defense. We know he's got the attitude. We know he's got the swagger. Can he finally put it all together and piece it together for a season when they're going to be leaning on guys all over the place?
Yeah, I mean, this is a contract year for Ben Mathurin. And
yeah.
We see guys usually play their best in a contract year. How much different do you think that this being a contract year will kind of shape the way Mathurin approaches this opportunity here to be the starting two guard for the Pacers?
Well, I mean, confidence doesn't pay the bills.
True.
So if you can get a contract and, finally put pen to paper on something, we're seeing the contracts these guys are getting. I mean, you're going to see guys like Josh Giddey getting $30 million. You don't think Benedict Mathurin's thinking like he'd like to be in that ballpark too? So the contracts in the NBA are getting quite insane. Like what didn't the guy on the Thunder? Why am I drawing a complete blank all of a sudden? The big guy.
Chet Holmgren.
Chet Holmgren got $250 million. I mean, what are we talking about?
Season and a half overall.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy.
$250 million.
The NBA money is insane. If Benedict Mathurin can piece it together for just a season, he's got generational wealth 3 times over. I mean, so yeah, he's got a lot to play for. That bank account is going to get more healthy if he can put it together this season.
Do you respect the decision by Indiana to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we lost Turner. We do have extra money to spend, but we're going to hold tight. We're going to be in control of our assets for now and see how this plays out rather than hitting the panic button saying, who's the best center we can get our hands on right now, making a trade, maybe even coughing up a first-round draft pick, anything just to sort of slap some bandages on it and package this team back into the playoffs.
I don't disagree with how they handled the Turner thing. Now, I can say I don't agree with how they handled the Turner talks, like saying they didn't get a chance to counter. I'm not so sure that they would have countered. I'm not sure if they would have matched what Milwaukee offered.
I agree.
Now, what they did with the center after the fact, I can say, yeah, this is kind of a season where we're going to kind of play it by ear and see what happens. I would like to see, once Myles Turner left, my thought was, okay, well, you would like to see guys paired with Tyrese Haliburton that you think are going to accentuate the situation. You're not going to get that for a full year. So do you want to commit to a guy that you have no idea what chemistry is going to be like with Tyrese for a full year, and then you're buried in a contract? So I don't mind this so much, how they're handling it. And maybe find a diamond in the rough. Maybe Jay Huff has untapped potential that we just haven't seen, and Rick Carlisle and the coaching staff can get the best out of him. But I'm fine with them kind of playing it center by committee, and then going forward how they're going to reshape this team once Tyrese comes back fully healthy.
All right, this guy just had a nasty dunk tonight against the Chicago Bulls.
I was hoping you were going to ask me this.
Johnny the Baptist Furphy. I mean, what an incredible dunk, and what fun highlights we've seen from Furphy throughout Summer League so far. Obviously didn't get a great opportunity last year to play, but even in the moments that he did play, I like some of the ways he was involved in the game and just things that he was doing. Obviously, he had that big dunk against the Magic at the end of the season last year too. But just curious, your thoughts on that dunk tonight against the Bulls with one of the most epic poster pictures I've ever seen in my life, even though it's Summer League. And then just your thoughts on Johnny Furphy this upcoming season.
I mean, that dunk was insane. I was just like, you don't see that happen too much in Summer League, let alone the regular season. And like, people got out of their seats in Summer League. You don't see that at all, really. So Johnny Furphy threw it down. I mean, that was a disgustingly beautiful dunk. And then as far as expectations, I like what I've seen so far in Summer League. He was one of the guys that I had circled, like guys I would like to see more of in Summer League. What can he do? What can Talon Peter do? What can Cam Jones do? These are guys that Pacers need to get some answers on relatively quickly, I think, because again, they're going to be throwing it against the wall most of the season, I feel like. And Johnny Furphy, he's got potential. I mean, he didn't get much of a role. Once you get an expanded role this year, what can you show him? Can you make an impact on this staff? They are going to give you every opportunity. I feel like if you're a young guy in the NBA, the Pacers will be the destination you want to go to, because you are going to get opportunities, because they are going to look for anything that they can have that gives you some consistency game in and game out. Can Johnny Furphy be that guy? I hope so. I would like to see more Johnny Furphy dunks. I would like to see some Sports Center top 10 throwdowns once the games start counting. But it'll be interesting to see how they handle, him in the rotation going forward. I do think he will make the main roster, and I think he'll be there throughout the majority of the season. What kind of impact he has, that's up to Johnny Furphy.
I think now there's starting to be enough young talent that we are getting excited about. Your Jarris Walkers, your Johnny Furphys. I think it's a little too early to get too excited about like a Cam Jones or a Talon Peter, but I feel like Indiana is starting to now have some young talent that they can develop. But going on the flip side, James Johnson was an older talent, I guess we could say. Do we think the door is shut on? They already have 15 men on this roster. They already do. They're trying to obviously decide their two ways. If you were to bring James Johnson on, that obviously means someone's got to go. Do you think at this point, at nearly 39 years old, this might be the end for James Johnson?
Who gets to deliver that news to James Johnson?
No one wants to be that guy.
No,
it's got to be someone.
James, I think we're going to do this meeting over the phone, long distance, if you don't mind. Yeah, I mean, he is one of those guys. He's a I hate to say luxury pick at the end of the bench, but I mean, that is kind of what he is. Like, if you can get younger and you get more, James Johnson kind of gives me like Brian Scalabrine vibes, and that's no insult to James Johnson. But as far as like he comes in every so often, people don't really think he's only gonna enter the game if they're up 30 or down 30. So despite the fact that he's got a black belt in basically every martial arts, I mean, that's kind of what you're going on basically. So I mean, are you okay having a spot filled up by a guy who's rarely going to play, or do you want to roll the dice and try to see what you got in some of these young guys? Because James Johnson, I mean, he's long in the tooth. Like you just said, 39. He's got not too much season under his belt left. Don't you want to take a swing at a young guy and kind of see if you find a diamond in the rough there? I would be surprised if the Pacers don't want to take that opportunity, quite honestly.
Yeah, and I've heard that, I think Tony East brought this up, that he might not want to return as well because his kids are getting a little bit older and things like that. So I think that's interesting. James Johnson's a very fascinating person, but I will say this. He has been working out this offseason with Obi Toppin.
Yeah.
And Obi Toppin and him have been boxing and doing some things together. Obi posted a bunch on his social media. Curious your thoughts on Obi becoming the new enforcer for the Pacers.
Are we sure Obi Toppin actually tweeted those photos out? Is Obi Toppin still alive with us right now, or was he on the receiving end? And that's just like a ghost profile. I don't know. But yeah, Obi Toppin was one of the breakout stars in the Pacers postseason. I mean, I remember people kind of scratched their heads when they first got him from the Knicks and everything. Like, oh, Obi Toppin, really? He kind of flamed out. But he accelerates in this Pacers style. He seems to really flourish under Rick Carlisle and the coaching staff. I like what Obi Toppin brings to the table, and I really liked what he brought to the table in the postseason. I mean, he stepped up in a big way when the Pacers were struggling. I mean, he wasn't afraid to take shots. He was able to lock down on defense and everything. So I like what Obi Toppin brings to the table. I hope he can expand, as many people's roles are going to get expanded this season.
Do we think the Pacers feel safe rolling into the season with this roster, or do you think maybe there's something else that they might be missing or looking to add to it? Right now, it feels like a roster that no one's overly confident with. I think it's enough to just say, hey, you know what? If we know it's not going to be here, there's no Tyrese, let's just see how it is. Yeah. Or do you think there's like, hey, you know what? The Pacers are just kind of waiting on maybe adding another ball handler, making a little bit of a consolidation trade, anything of that sort? Or do you think this is it?
I mean, look at what Vegas thinks of them. 39.5 wins over under. I mean, I know the Pacers are scrappy and all that stuff. Vegas, once again, I mean, Rick Carlisle can put on the board on opening night, say, they don't believe in you. But, you know, let's show them what we got. Let's stun the NBA world a third year in a row. Yeah, I mean, I think they've got talent. We know that. I mean, you've lost Tyrese, you've lost Myles, but you've got talent on that roster. That it wasn't just Myles and Tyrese that got you to the NBA Finals. It was a concise and collective effort. Those pieces are still there. They're going to be a little older. They're going to have a lot more minutes under their belts at this season. But I still think they can. I don't see the Pacers being an under 500 team. 41 wins, 42. I think they're still going to make the playoffs. The East is wide open next year.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what's going to happen. Are we sure Giannis is staying with Milwaukee? It sounds like he is, but we don't know.
Yeah.
The state of Boston, the Knicks and the Cavs, those are maybe your 1 and 2. But outside of that, I mean, it's a crapshoot. And so the Pacers, yes, they're probably not going to be a top 4 seed. But, I mean, 6 more teams make the NBA playoffs these days with the play-in and everything like that. Can they give you a play-in team? Can they be a 7 or an 8? We'll see. But I think once they get there, they're going to not take their foot off the gas, and they're still going to be a pain in a lot of teams' side this season.
I like how you chose that word instead there. I appreciate that.
I tried to censor myself. I wanted this to be a family-friendly program. So.
That is what we aim for here. We want the kids to enjoy it. I mean, sometimes me and Facci get a little carried away, maybe me pushing the envelope a little bit too much. But, Mark, it's been a lot of fun talking with you about the Pacers. I don't have really anything else that I want to add, but is there anything you'd like to say or plug before we sign off here?
Nothing really to say or plug, but I appreciate you guys having me on. And I do produce the Fan Morning Show Monday through Friday, 7 to 10. I will be jumping on Eddie Garrison and I be co-hosting JMV show actually on Thursday. So the boys are taking over. We did a Jake show a couple weeks ago. We're doing JMV show on Thursday. So me and Eddie behind the wheel from 3 to 6 on Thursday on the Fan. So if you want to check that out, would appreciate that. So it's never not a I'm talking in circles right now. Never a bad time to be on the air. So we get to talk Pacers, we can talk some Fever, some Colts stuff. So plenty going on. So Thursday will be a fun show.
Awesome. Mark, we really appreciate you having on. It's crazy it's taken this long, and we look forward to the next time.
I blame the Cubs shirt. I appreciate Alex for putting his Cardinals bias and hate to the side for these brief time, but hopefully you guys will have me again. It was honestly a pleasure. I got the call, and I could not be more excited to join you guys. So love what you do. Keep it going, and hope we can do it again soon in the near future.
Absolutely, and you heard it right there from the #1 Cardinals fan in all the world.